Hi everyone, my name is Jessie and welcome back to another episode of Table Talk, a video podcast series where we sit down at my dining room table and chat about all things life together. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you so much for 5,000 subbies and 2,000 followers on Instagram. Oh my gosh! If you found me from my How to Become an Influencer 2024 video, welcome, take a seat. While I don't want this video podcast series to be exclusively about influencing and influencer marketing, you guys have asked so many questions on my last video that I decided that I do need to create a few more videos surrounding this topic. So pull out your phones and cameras because today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to shoot aesthetic content, plan your feed, and build your own personal social media brand. Step 1, decide on your aesthetic. I think that the easiest way to choose your aesthetic is to ask yourself a very simple question. Are you a maximalist or minimalist? Minimalist creators tend to have clean-cut editing. If they're using audio, it's going to be soothing, relaxing music. The pacing of their videos may be slower, and they'll tend to lean towards more beige or neutral toned feeds. Maximalist creators are the complete opposite. Their editing will be fast-paced, think funny memes, the music will tend to be more upbeat, and they'll use more sound effects in their videos. Maximalist creators will always gravitate towards a more colorful feed. Personally, for me, I lean more towards maximalism, so my online persona is going to have a lot of fun editing, a lot of colors, and a whole lot of yapping. So after breaking down these two different aesthetics, which one would you guys say that you lean more towards? This is something that you need to ask yourself because it helps you establish your overall brand identity, and it gives you some form of direction when shooting and planning your content. Step 2, create a mood board. Now that you've established the overall brand aesthetic that you're going for, let's talk about how we're going to implement that aesthetic into your specific niche. So remember in the last episode where I told you guys to choose 3 different niches that you're going to cover? Those 3 niches will be the pillars and foundation in creating your content strategy. The key to building any brand or executing any creative shot is to create a mood board. A mood board will not only act as a guide when shooting your content, but it'll also help you overall visualize what you want your brand to look like. Your brand social media strategy will obviously shift dependent on what social media platform that you're using, but the overall look and feel of your brand should be consistent across all platforms. In terms of your Instagram aesthetic specifically, I'm going to let you guys in on a little trick that I did when I was establishing my Instagram feed. Go on Pinterest and search aesthetic Instagram feed. It sounds so simple, but truly use the resources that you have. Once you search this term in Pinterest, it will provide you with a plethora of different Instagram feed aesthetics that you can pick and choose from. I want you to pin your favorite feeds that inspire you the most or feeds that you strive to curate one day. And then once you have everything pinned and saved in your own personal folder, you can then use that to look back on and reference when you plan your feed. And if you need a feed example for a more specific niche, then just add the word to your search. So aesthetic fashion account, aesthetic beauty account, aesthetic lifestyle, photography, you name it, Pinterest will have it. But I want you to use Pinterest as your mood board moving forward when creating content and planning it. Plus, this will not only serve as your mood board inspiration, but it will also help you with your pose and product shot inspiration as well. Step 3, shooting aesthetic content. Before moving into the apartment that I live in now, I used to feel so insecure about not having the most aesthetic home or environment to shoot in. I just wanted to preface this portion of the video by saying that whether it's your environment or your lack of super nice equipment, do not let any of that stop you from creating content. They're not something that you necessarily need to create good content. They're just a bonus, and they're something that you can invest in the long term once you make it big as a content creator. The golden rule of social media is that the camera only sees what you allow it to see. It does sound super superficial, and I always say that social media is fake because of this reason. Everything on social media is curated. So if you're going to invest in anything, then I would advise for people starting out to invest in some photo backdrops and some props to start shooting aesthetic content with. You can get a bundle of photo backdrops from Amazon for around $20 to $30. You can thrift fake plants or thrift really nice bowls to practice shooting product with. You don't need to spend a lot of money at all when you're first starting out on content creation. Now, I'm not saying that you can't manifest or work hard towards having your dream home or having the ideal equipment that you would like to have. But again, those are all just long-term investments and nothing that you need to start your content creation journey now. If you want to get started in influencing, content creation, whatever it is, start today, start small, and be very mindful of what you're investing your money in. We're going to take a quick little intermission. Just real quick, stay with me. I thought it would be interesting to dive into some influencer case studies. I genuinely feel like I'm a professor in influencer marketing right now. People wanting to become an influencer or content creator or whatever it is. I think it's important to analyze obviously the market and the industry that you're getting yourself into. Using our two broader umbrella terms again, we are going to compare and contrast the filming and editing styles of influencers that I would categorize under the maximalist aesthetic or the minimalist aesthetic. So starting with fashion influencers, I chose Chriselle Lim for a minimalist style and Nava Rose for a maximalist style. Clearly you see Nava has a lot of colors, a lot of fun DIY thrifted pieces that she works with, whereas Chriselle Lim has a lot of beige, neutral tone, simplistic outfits. Moving on to beauty influencers, I chose Glow with Ava and Nicole Concilio for the minimalist versus maximalist style. Glow with Ava is very radiant and subtle and natural. Her editing style again is very clean cut, whereas Nicole is glam. She's dramatic, she's flashy, like all in the best ways possible though, obviously. When choosing your aesthetic, it's important to remember you don't need to be like anyone else. People will naturally gravitate towards your own twist on each aesthetic. For lifestyle, I chose Michelle Choi for minimalistic and Lynn Trong for maximal style. You get what I'm trying to say. Michelle Choi, I'm pretty sure she invented the living at home diaries. Check me on that. She went viral for her simple, clean cut, minimalistic editing. It's very wholesome, whereas Lynn's editing is very energetic, expressive, colorful. You will see a lot of graphic overlays, a lot of hand-drawn overlays, not only in her YouTube videos, but also her Instagram as well. For foodies, you guys probably know who I'm gonna choose for minimalistic, but we have Miss Nara Smith for minimalistic. I think her name is Niki. I feel like that one person who was pronouncing everyone's names wrong at Thomas Jefferson's college graduation.
Alisuna Cole Bishop, Sayer Uvun Jinju Brinan.
Oh goodness, I'm so sorry. I will put her handle here. If you look at either of their TikTok accounts, you know what I'm talking about. Nara Smith, her voice is very soothing, very simple editing, whereas, I pronounced her name wrong again, I'm so sorry, love. But whereas with her account, it's not that her voice isn't soothing, but the way she carries herself is just more bold. How she walks you through her recipes, it's very fast paced. I think that by watching and researching and taking notes of influencers or even brands that are already well established, you can then incorporate those different shooting and editing styles into your own personal brand aesthetic. This video obviously focuses on influencer marketing, but even if you were to look at this from a brand perspective, you could even use companies within this case study of minimalistic versus maximalist aesthetics. A great example of that would be Rhode and Glow Recipe. Rhode obviously being your minimalistic style. All of the images are clean, minimalist, fresh, whereas Glow Recipe, it's very fun, it's vibrant. Like, look at the two feeds. Just look at the two feeds. Both skincare brands have amassed a similar following, but both aesthetics and target market are completely different. So what I now want you to do is comment below your own example of a minimalistic versus maximalist brand or influencer, just to train that aesthetic eye of yours to really recognize these themes and trends when creating content. By learning to distinguish these two aesthetics, you will then master them and mold your own type of aesthetic. Step 4 is editing and building your aesthetic feed. Alrighty, so you understand your aesthetic, you've shot your content, and now it's time to buckle in and edit and plan your content. The trick to building an aesthetic feed is to pick a filter or colorway that you like best and stick with it. Whereas for videos, I like to use the Splice app to edit together my short form videos. For photos, I like to use the Tezza app. Now, I used to be a VSCO girly, but then VSCO started charging for my favorite filter, so I had to make a switch because that was criminal of them to start charging for filters. So I'm going to live edit a photo for you guys to show you what it is exactly I do when editing my Instagram photos. So for me, I like to use the Cocoa Flow tone and set it to about 80%. Could do 100, there's nothing wrong with that, but for some reason I don't like my photos to look too filtered, so a solid 80 is the sweet spot for me. I like this filter personally because it gives you a warm neutral tone to the photo, whether you want something warm toned, cool tone, bunch of different styles that you can choose from. Now we go to HSL, which stands for hue, saturation, luminance, and I like to go to each color and start color correcting. You kind of just do this based on however you please, really. I don't like how pale I look when I put this filter on, so I usually adjust the yellow and orange colorways, give myself a little bit extra color that the filter washes away. This is everything that I like to do, by the way. Like, you can obviously edit based off of how you see fit, but the main objective is to choose one filter and stick with that filter. So if I'm choosing Cocoa Flow, I'm using Cocoa Flow for all of my photos. You want to create a cohesive feed, and the easiest way to do that is to stick with one filter. After I color correct and put the filter on, I always like to adjust the brightness to about -3, and then I'll adjust the highlights and shadows as needed. I would say that that's done. I think that the greatest thing about Tezza is that once you create an editing style that you really like, you can then save it as a collection. To save it as a collection, you click on this little marker right here, save new flow. You can name it whatever you'd like. So we'll just name this IG test for the time being. But all you need to do whenever you take new pictures now, you could click on your collections tab, and then I put IG test right here. So I just click on that. Let's do it. And it applies everything that I just did in one click. I love this feature. It makes editing photos so much faster, and it saves me so much time when it comes to editing my Instagram photos. Then you upload your photo into Planoly. So you could see here, I already have it uploaded because this is a post that I will eventually put up. And I will literally sit in the Planoly app for around 30 minutes just planning my feed. It sounds a little bit much because it's just Instagram, who cares? But this is why social media management is a full-time job, guys. You need to be able to create an aesthetic feed that pertains to people's eyes, that make them want to click that follow button. So I don't like to put products next to each other. If you are just like a faceless account that only shows products, that's completely fine. Do that. For me, someone who has several different niches, I like to put it so that my feed shows a product like every other photo. Say we have 2 fashion photos and then a product photo. Boom. Another trick to planning your feed is to look at the overall colors of your feed. So for instance, here I have a little greenery. Again, with putting products next to each other, you also don't want to put like colors right next to each other. You kind of want to put it diagonally, at least for what I like to do. I hope that kind of makes sense in terms of looking at the background of your photos, playing with like colors together, and trying to diversify the different types of content that you have. Step 5, apps and equipment. I previously mentioned a few apps like Tezza to edit my photos, Splice to edit my videos, and Planoly to plan my Instagram feed, but I just wanted to, in this portion, give you guys a quick list and rundown of all the apps and equipment I use. Another app that I use for Instagram is also Airbrush, and I use this for when I have a blemish on my face or when my under eye bags are just a little too much. Especially my under eye bags can look so freaking bad in certain lighting, and I have to get rid of those. I can't have you people knowing that I'm an overthinking creative that suffers from insomnia. For YouTube, I use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit all of my videos, and then I use Canva to edit my thumbnails. I used to use Photoshop, but but Photoshop is so much more time consuming for me and Canva makes it more seamless. All of the apps that I previously mentioned are in fact free with in-app purchases. You of course don't have to use the same apps or equipment that I use. I'm just sharing with you guys what I use to help you guys out. But use whatever you feel comfortable using. If you test another app and you end up liking it more, if you have another piece of equipment that you like more, by all means, do not listen to me. 1000% use whatever makes you feel most comfortable. Moving on to equipment, I shoot all of my videos and photos using my iPhone 11. I really should upgrade my phone because I've had this since college, but my first big girl investment will be in getting a new laptop and getting a new camera for YouTube. For YouTube right now, I use my Canon G7X Mark II to film all of my YouTube videos. However, I will say that for brands that pay me to collab for social media, I will also use my Canon G7X to shoot photos with and to shoot videos with. And that's only if I'm getting paid for my time, if you know what I'm saying. All of the equipment that I mentioned for influencing or for my YouTube channel will be listed in my Amazon shop at the link in the description below. Step number 6, practice makes perfect. With anything in life, practice makes perfect, but you should strive for progress, not perfection. The more you pick up your camera, set up your filming space, you shoot and you edit and post your content, the better you'll get at it and the more confident you'll feel about your own work. Remember, it's all about the journey, not the destination, and you'll never know what the destination looks like if you never start on your journey today. So start your content creation journey now. I sincerely hope that this video was able to help all of you who are asking me how to shoot and plan aesthetic content. I try to be as beginner friendly as possible, but of course if I missed anything, then feel free to just comment below and I will be sure to answer as many of your questions as possible. Again, be sure to check out my Amazon shop for any of the equipment that I've listed if you're interested in using the same equipment that I use. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned creator, I sincerely appreciate all of the love and support that my channel has been receiving. If you haven't already, be sure to click that subscribe button, click that like button, and stay tuned for more Table Talk episodes where we talk about anything and everything in life. And with that, I will see you all in my next video. Bye!